All right, Chase Golightly live for us in New River. Chase, thank you.
And we're going to be joined right now by Stephen Slugocki on the phone. He is a former chair of the Maricopa County Democratic Party. He is a Biden delegate. And we've been talking to folks all afternoon long. Stephen, are you there?
I am here. Thanks for having me.
I want to throw a bit of news at you. There are reports that West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin is considering challenging Kamala Harris for the Democratic nomination. Does Manchin float your boat?
I don't think Manchin floats anybody's vote within the Democratic Party. I don't think he's going to sway too many votes. We are united behind Vice President Harris, and we're going to make sure she gets the nomination.
But what about that? It is possible that there could be some challenges from the floor or even before that. So far, earlier today, Josh Shapiro, the Pennsylvania governor, backed off. He threw his support to Kamala Harris, could put him in the running for a VP. What's the likelihood of a floor fight or a fight even before the convention?
You know, I don't think we're going to see any sort of floor fight, but could somebody step forward and throw their hat in the ring? I could see that happening. But, the fact that Joe Biden came out and endorsed Kamala and said that he wants her to be his successor, I think that says everything that we need to know, that the Democrats need to get united behind Harris, and that's what we're going to do. I don't believe that we're going to see any messy floor fight. I know the Republicans would love to see that, but this party is going to unite very quickly around Vice President Harris.
Okay, you've worked on campaigns. I'm going to ask you, as a Democrat, give me the coldest calculation you can about the challenges facing Kamala Harris.
I think we're going to see unfortunately, there's going to be some sexism going on with her. There's going to be some, undertones that people are going to make comments about her, which is really unfortunate. But we need to tell her story. We need to talk about her great time that she did as a vice president, all the strengths that she has, the qualifications she has. There's nobody more, qualified to be our nominee. And again, it's a tough day to lose Joe Biden. He's a very consequential president. Everybody's very proud of him. And there's no better way to respect his legacy than to honor his wishes and nominate Kamala Harris. And I think once we tell her story, people are going to be united, and they're going to be ready to vote for the prosecutor over the convicted felon.
I was just going to say, that story that you mentioned of hers, she ran for president at one point against Joe Biden. So is it more of a just kind of letting folks know that she's here and just kind of reintroducing her again to the American people at the top of this ticket?
Yeah, I think we do have to tell her story. She has a phenomenal story growing up, a one-of-a-kind story, and we've got to get that message out to the American people over the next 107 days. And I think we're going to do that. And once people get to know her the way that a lot of people do, the way that President Biden does, the way that President Obama does, people are going to be excited and ready to elect her. Everybody I've talked to in the last few hours, everybody is fired up. Everybody is united, and we are ready to get this done. Arizona is going to be a big battleground state. We've got abortion rights on the ballot. We've got up and down races that we've got to win. And I think people are more excited than ever to turn out the vote.
I want to do a little reality check on that, more excited than ever, because I get where you're coming from. At the same time, we saw many Democrats, rank and file Democrats, saying, no, leave Joe Biden alone. He should remain on the ticket given everything he's done. He can handle this. And so will there be some residual bitterness? Is there some bitterness even today about Joe Biden, the president, clearly being muscled off the ticket by Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and others?
Sure, and I can understand that frustration. And the media coverage over the last few weeks and some of the comments have been disappointing, no doubt, and it's been tough to see, people calling on such a great president to step down. However, people they see the threat that Trump is and the Project 2025 movement that they are trying to do. And I think that in the end, we will be ready to defeat the MAGA Republicans versus some, hurt feelings or things that were said in the last few weeks. I think people see the threat that Trump is, and they are ready to win this November.
And so what is your best guess about how this all proceeds over the next few weeks leading up to the convention start on, I think it's August 19th?
Yeah, it's coming up here in a few weeks. We've got the potential roll call nomination because of the changes in the Ohio law. So we potentially have the virtual roll call here coming in a couple weeks. But again, I think we're going to see in the next few days everybody coming behind Kamala Harris. It's going to be exciting to see who she's going to make as her running mate. I personally hope it's going to be Senator Mark Kelly because he's so phenomenal. Obviously represents our great state. But I think in the next couple of days, all the Democrats are going to get united and be behind her and whoever she picks to be her running mate.
Again, getting back to those cold political calculations, does she need somebody from a blue wall state, somebody like a Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania,
Sure.
Which apparently, at least President Biden, based on polling numbers, needed more than Arizona right now?
Yeah, we do. We need to pick somebody from one of the swing battleground states. Whoever that's going to be is going to be ready to take this fight on day one to Donald Trump. I don't know who it's going to be. I wish I had inside information, but I don't. I am just excited to see what's going to happen. This is unprecedented. This is uncharted territory that we're in right now, and it's exciting. But again, I think there's a new enthusiasm and people are ready to get out and get activated that was not there even just 24 hours ago. People are ready for this.
Take us inside delegate world right now. What are the questions, maybe kind of granular questions, weedy questions, but still important ones? What are the questions that delegates have about the next few weeks?
Well, to be honest, people just need to know what the rules are. We don't know exactly how the nomination is going to work, what is going to happen at the convention. Are the superdelegates going to be voting? We don't know that yet. We need to know what the process is going to be before people can move forward. I think there's a lot of the delegates this time are brand new. They're excited, and now we've got this new historic opportunity here with whether you want to call it an open convention, but this is a new opportunity, and I think people just want to know what's going to happen, and I look forward to hearing from the DNC very quickly on the rules and how we're going to proceed forward as a party.
I was going to say, Vice President Harris has been to Arizona several times this year. What does she have to do to make her case for Arizona voters to lock in step with her?
I think she just has to talk about the incredible accomplishments of the Biden administration over the last 4 years. The bipartisan infrastructure law has been a huge huge boost to Arizona economy. The CHIPS Act has made Arizona a leading manufacturer in the world. I think she's got to continue to talk about this incredible successes of the Biden administration. Low unemployment, inflation is coming down. She's just got to continue to run on the record of success that Joe Biden has had.
Now, we were talking about that earlier with Mesa Mayor John Giles, who, as you know, is a big fan of the accomplishments of the Biden administration and how they've helped out his city. Did President Biden fall short, the administration fall short in just not selling those accomplishments enough? And just
I think that's a fair criticism. I think people don't talk enough about the accomplishments that they did and all the wonderful things that it did for our state. So yes, that is something that we have to get out the message for and continue to talk about the positive outcomes of the last 4 years and how, hopefully President Harris will continue to build on those accomplishments.
There are some difficult questions the president and other Democrats are going to have to answer. We have Republicans saying, well, if the president can't run as decided he can't run for a second term, then maybe he doesn't have the capacity to stay in the role of president. We're seeing some calls for the 25th Amendment being applied. How do you respond to that?
First off, I with all due respect to those Republican politicians, their judgment as far as taking rights away from women, I don't trust their opinions. I don't believe that is correct. I think Joe Biden can do the job. He's still very capable, and I'm looking forward to his final few final few months of his term. So I don't see any reason why he needs to step down. There's no crisis that he is in, but in his view, he viewed Kamala Harris as the best nominee to defeat Donald Trump in November, and that's what this is about.
All right. Stephen Slugocki, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.